What's up, creative fam? At this point, I don't even know whether I'm doing podcast or I'm doing my own personal YouTube or whatever. But then, well, it's another Friday. It's Good Friday, and welcome to another episode. So today, I just want to share with you a little story. I hope you're ready for it. It's a very simple story. So there was this boy, I think 3 to 4 years ago, started his university journey, right? And before he started the university journey, he had a very great passion for videography, for cameras, for graphics and all that. And when he was very young in his primary school, right, they used to have something called career day, where the students are allowed to wear what they want to do. So for example, the people who want to be doctors in future would dress like doctors. The people who want to be engineers would dress like engineers. Now this guy would pop up in school, dress casually, and his parents had like a pharmacy shop, right? So he would get one of the boxes of drugs, I think Andrew's liver salts, right? And he would cut that box into the shape of a camera, and then he would come to school, or he would go to school with that box. Now this boy would go to school, and when he's asked, he will say he wants to be a videographer. And this passion continued so much, and he wanted to do it so much. Funny enough, he had a weird passion for fixing things and destroying things in the house. So they thought he was going to be an engineer too, So his siblings would often encourage him to go and study engineering in the university when he gets to the university. His mother, on the other hand, has a passion for medicine and medical stuff, and so she wanted the boy to be like a doctor or some sort of pharmacist to take after his dad. But then this boy was resolute, and he decided that no, he's still going to pursue art, because art was just it for him. I mean, those other things of fixing things here and there were just side things, but then the real deal for him was art. And fast forward to when he was in high school, and he was almost done with high school, where everybody was now supposed to choose the courses they were supposed to study in the university. He did his research as to what course he could study in the university that could get him to do film and or probably any other multimedia course, since he had a passion for multimedia. And in his search, he found out that the study of fine arts could get him there. And so he was so resolute and said he was going to pick fine arts. And the kind of resolution that he had was such that he chose to pick only one university, right? And so he chose to pick only the University of Ghana, Legon, and then picked Bachelor of Fine Arts, since that was what he had seen in search that he could do. Now, as part of the process to be able to study fine arts, he had to attend an interview in the school, right? And then it was at the interview that he realized that he had done a very big mistake that was going to cost him for the rest of the 4 years of his life that was ahead of him. And the mistake was that, yes, he chose fine arts, but then the fine arts that he chose was made up of just performing arts, right? And not anything related to multimedia. And so, I mean, very sad for him that he was not going to be able to do the thing he had so wanted to do. He just had to take it anyways and then continue like that. But then he didn't let anything stop him. He was so resilient, still wanted to pursue what he had already wanted to pursue. And beautifully enough for him, he got roommates that were good and helped his purpose, right? So then these roommates introduced him to YouTube and the fact that he could learn some things off of YouTube. So this was where his self-learning journey started. And he began to surf the nets. He began to go on YouTube, watch videos on graphic design, started off with graphic design, learning graphic design, watch videos on graphic design, learns the principles and elements of graphic design. And he went on to learn videography and so many other things. So then, even though he didn't get a chance to pursue as a course of study his passion, he still allowed, or he still didn't give up. But then he, by the grace of God and through his roommates and his introduction to YouTube, said that, okay, if he didn't get to learn the things that he wanted to learn from school, why not just get them from YouTube, since YouTube offers all these things in a very, interactive thing. So yeah, he learned on YouTube most of the things that he knows how to do, and he was applying them, practicing all those things, right? And the story continues with this. So he kept learning, kept growing, kept pursuing passion, kept pursuing his purpose, kept pursuing his desire, and that led him to knowing a lot of things, right? And too many people praised him for all the things he knew, because he was so good at the things he was doing, even though he didn't learn them in school. Now, this boy, with the things he learned on YouTube, started to do many other things, right? Now, at a point in time, through his surfing on the net, going through YouTube, learning things, he got to know about the creative side of things. He came across a person called the Chris Do. He learned so much of the business side of things from him, and that created a new interest for him, an interest in the growth of creatives and solving creative problems, because he realized how the creative industry, especially for a person like him that had learned so much by himself without having to go through school or anything, he realized how hasty the streets of the creative industry were, and how that people needed guidance, because if you didn't get that guidance, you would just crash, and you will not be like the good kind of creative, and the creative that can grow and even depend on your creative work, or even have to make something substantial from your creative work. So yeah, this made him continue, and he learned so much from the Chris Do and other people from YouTube. But the problem was that most of those things, or most of those people and the things they were saying, were things that were relating to them, right? Because they were not in Ghana, they were not in Africa. So there were things that, of course, made sense, but then specifically they could not relate sometimes in the African space. So then this created a need for the boy that he wanted to respond to. Finally, he decided to create a podcast. So this boy whose story you are hearing today, and probably wondering who it was or who he is, this boy is me. Yeah, so it's my story you just heard. And today, this boy is here to just say thank you. My camera decided to give up on me just when I was about to finish the video. So I was like, re-record a long list of thank yous I said, right? But then, thank you so much for supporting the vision. Thank you so much that you didn't give up on me. Yes, that's my story I just shared with you. The fact that things didn't go as planned, things didn't go the way that I wanted them to go. But then I didn't give up. And I also want to thank you today because you also didn't give up and you have not given up on me. I want to thank the 100+ people who have believed in the vision enough to subscribe to this podcast. The people who have listened to us right from the days of just being audio to now that we are a YouTube channel, that we have over 100 subscribers. I want to thank our 100+ subscribers. Thank you so much. And by the grace of God, and thanks to you guys, even though it's a very new channel, I get an average of 100 people watching like every video that is put out by the time the next video is coming out. And I don't take it lightly at all. This is something that is big for me as a new channel. And I want to thank all 100+ of you who also always watch the videos that come out. Thank you so much for supporting us, and thank you so much for being there. I'd like to just say some quick thank yous to some people who have been very, 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 very impactful. So then you remember I mentioned a roommate who taught this boy about YouTube and what he could do, right? So this roommate for me was Dr. Emmanuel Enimboachi. I hope I got the name right. Dr. Creeb, what I call him, Papa Creeb. Papa Creeb was the one who taught me about YouTube. He had time for me, even though he didn't have enough time because he was studying medicine in school, veterinary medicine. But then he still made time for me, taught me, poured into me, and invested in me. And then even when things were like a bit hopeless, where I'd done everything, now we're ready to go on YouTube. Now YouTube was giving us issues because of verification, and we just tried so many things but then couldn't. He decided to sacrifice one of his channels for me to use for my YouTube for the podcast. So the channel you are watching right now is actually for Dr. Creeb, and he decided to give it over to me. Thank you so much, Dr. Creeb. I'm very grateful. I have to rush through this thing before the camera goes off again. I want to also thank my very dear friend Tracy Owusuwa Ayi. I love this girl so much. She's my very good friend, my very tight buddy, and she's been there for me so many times. I remember those times from second year when we became close. There are times she will sit me down and talk to me about self-confidence, taught me to believe in myself, taught me that I'm made up of a lot and I have to believe in myself because I'm made up of a lot. And when I started this whole creative journey, like quite recently, for like a year now, I've had her laptop. So I didn't have a laptop of my own, a very strong working laptop of my own. And she gave me her laptop to be using for work, to be using for work and all those things. It was a very big sacrifice she did for me, using for work. And when the podcast started and I wanted to start using a condenser microphone, she was there for me. She gave me the laptop again and I was using it for the podcast, So if we have come this far, she is actually a very big reason for that. So thank you so much, Tracy. I love you so much and thank you so much. And I want to also thank my brother Solomon, his King Juice, right? And he has also been so very supportive. When it was time for me to get the podcast microphone, I felt like, I want to look more like a podcast. I want to get a podcast microphone. He supported me with money, right? Because I went to Accra to buy the microphone. I had saved up some money. When I got there, the price that I saw and what I took there was two different things, And then on the spot, I called my brother. I'm like, Charlie, this is what's happening. And he just said, okay. Then he sent the money. It was big money, and it was a big sacrifice for me, and I really, really appreciate that sacrifice. And he's been supportive ever since, always cheering me up and always doing things, always liking my posts, commenting, all those things. Thank you so much. And I want to thank my mother. My mother, Mrs. Pelmina Kotobanfo. How many people's mothers comment on their videos and like their stuff and support their children, but my mother has been doing that. My last video, she came to comment on the video, right? So she's there telling me now for the comments that you saw. That's my mother, and see the things she was saying. I really appreciate her believing in me so much, even though I'm sometimes very stubborn. And I miss her so much because since school vacated, I've not been to the house, sad. I've been here for almost 2 months now. Yeah, but then I miss you so much and I love you so much, right? And yeah, thank you so much. And you see this phone I'm using now? See the phone? I ordinarily wouldn't have been able to afford the phone, looking at where I am right now in life and all that. But then my very good friend Manasseh Jan was very supportive, there's a thing where they're like, if they're with you in Ghana, they're very supportive, they're with you and all that. When they leave to abroad, it looks like they don't know you. If you text them, it's like they run away because they feel like I come to beg them. But this guy has proven that thing is actually false, because he actually did come through for me. I just saw him take a mirror video with everyone. I'm like, hey, Charlie, the boys are blowing. And it's like, oh, he has another one there that he can, send to me. And I said, oh yeah, you should send it. And he sent it just like that. He could have sold it, he could have dashed it to somebody else, he could have, but then he decided to send it, bearing all the cost and all that. Thank you so much, Manasseh. I really, really appreciate it. And to you who has been watching, to you who has been there for me, to all the people that are always supporting, that have been mentioning so far. My sister, I love you so much. My family, my brother, Julian. Julian too surprised me because me and Julian, we are always fighting. He's my other brother. We are always fighting. But then he kept supporting, and I actually stole some of his clothes to do some videos. The very first video, it was his shirt I stole. This thing I'm wearing right now, I don't know if the camera is catching it. It's for him. I stole it too. Yeah. But then he's very supportive, and then he was like, "Oh, you stole my dress," and we made a whole fun about it. And I want to thank him so much for supporting me and for believing in me and for not looking at our fight to say, "Oh, do your thing," But then he's actually supporting, watching every video, and he actually came to congratulate me on what I'm doing, give me thumbs up. It was so touching for me. I almost cried, because and we are always fighting. We are doing ourselves hard guy. But thank you so much, Julian. And then thank you to everybody that has been watching this. I really, really appreciate all of you. Thank you so much. I love you. All right. So, not to bore you with a long talk and long line of thank yous, and not to let my camera go off again, I want to end here. But thank you so much. Just know that whatever you have done for me, I appreciate it. If I didn't mention your name, I sure do appreciate you, right? I appreciate you so much. All right. Thank you so much to everybody that supported, to Inshira, to Kafri, who came and be part of the team, not trying to put up a team despite their busy schedules. My church people, my house people, my school people, my colleagues, and my lecturers, Dr. Bomita and Dr. Baby Kwe. Dr. Kwe, sorry. Dr. David Kwe. Thank you so much for supporting. The list is long, all right? So I want to thank all of you so much. Thank you so much. And I'd like to end here. I hope I'm looking good right now. I don't know how I'm looking right now because I'm filming this alone and I don't know how. Yeah, and one last thing. I forgot the first time too. Thank you so much, Pastor Michael Edu and your wife. Let me come back and say it. Thank you so much, because this camera that I've been using since it was gifted to me by him too, and it has changed things ever since it came in, right? Thank you so much for gifting me this camera. Thank you so much for supporting. I had this SSD which has really helped me, when I didn't have a laptop, because his SSD was very supportive. His camera, he gave me another laptop to be using for the graphics, like he's been supportive, asking about me, Charlie, doing so many things. Thank you so much, Pastor Michael. I really, really appreciate you and your wife and all the support you have given me. All right. If you leave me, I can thank the whole of right now, the whole of the world, right? So thank you so much. And I pray for you that for everybody that's supporting, that would keep growing together. This is just the beginning. We just got started. Let's more. Thank you so much for your support. Let's keep pushing. Let's keep growing, Thank you so much for watching this one. I would catch you in the next video. I want to end here. Shout outs to everybody, and thank you so much. Let's keep supporting. Bye. I don't know, I'm looking, but I think let me come back. Bye.